We're taught to be impressive, but what if the real power is in being intriguing? The desire to be liked often makes us perform, turning conversations into a one-woman show that leaves us feeling exhausted and misunderstood. Most people will continue this performance, never knowing why genuine connection eludes them. But 99% of attraction is built on a specific conversational dynamic revealed in the final chapter. Don't miss the shift. Performance mode. Let's begin by dismantling a myth that has been silently directing our social lives for far too long. The myth that to be interesting, you must be impressive. From a young age, we are often coached to present a highlight reel of our lives. We learn to talk about our accomplishments, our exciting travels, our clever insights. In a professional setting, we pitch our skills. In a social setting, we tell our best stories. On a date, we try to subtly weave in our most attractive qualities. We are, in essence, in a constant state of performance. This isn't a character flaw, it's a deeply ingrained survival strategy. Our brains are wired to seek approval because, historically, social acceptance meant safety and resources. Every nod of agreement, every impressed smile delivers a small hit of dopamine, reinforcing the behavior. We are performing for validation, and the world has become our stage. But what is the actual result of this performance? It creates a dynamic where you are the speaker and the other person is the audience. You are transmitting information and they are receiving it. While this might successfully convey facts about your life, it does very little to build a genuine connection. In fact, it often does the opposite. When you are in performance mode, your energy is focused inward. You are monitoring yourself. How am I coming across? Was that story funny? Do they think I'm smart? This self-consciousness creates a subtle energetic barrier between you and the other person. They can feel, on a subconscious level, that your focus is on yourself, not on them. It can make them feel less like a participant in a conversation and more like a judge at an audition. And nobody truly enjoys being a judge. The science of human connection tells us that the most powerful and memorable interactions are not the ones where we are impressed by someone, but the ones where we feel seen by them. We are all the main characters in our own stories, and our deepest psychological craving is for someone to be genuinely interested in that story. When you spend the entire conversation talking about your own life, you are essentially asking them to leave their movie and come sit in the audience of yours. It might be entertaining for a little while, but it's not a shared experience. A high-value woman understands this distinction intuitively. She knows that her value is not something she needs to prove with a dazzling monologue. Her value is inherent, and it is demonstrated not by how well she can talk about herself, but by how skillfully she can create a space where another person feels comfortable revealing themselves. So the first step is to simply become aware of your own tendency to slip into performance mode. In your next significant conversation with a man, I want you to notice where your mental focus is. Is it on crafting your next clever response? Is it on thinking of a story that relates back to you? Or is it truly on understanding the words the other person is saying? Just notice, without judgment. This awareness is the key that unlocks the door. You have to see the cage before you can leave it. The goal is to shift from a mindset of, I need to prove I'm interesting, to a state of being that is so grounded and confident that it naturally makes other people feel interesting. That is the beginning of true magnetism. Curious presence. If performance mode is the problem, then the solution is what I call curious presence. This is the foundational mindset shift that changes everything. It's the conscious decision to be more interested than you are interesting. This sounds simple, but it is a radical departure from how most of us operate. Curious presence means you enter a conversation not with an agenda to impress, but with a genuine desire to understand. You become a detective of the human soul, and the person you are speaking with is the most fascinating mystery you have the privilege of exploring. This isn't an act, it's a state of being. It's a form of active mindfulness where your attention is placed completely on the other person. You are listening not just to their words, but to the emotion behind the words, the pauses, the shifts in their tone. The psychological effect of this is astonishingly powerful. When you give someone your undivided, curious attention, you are sending them one of the most potent nonverbal signals in existence. You matter. In a world of constant distraction, where everyone is half listening while scrolling on their phones, the gift of your full presence is the rarest and most valuable currency you can offer. It makes the other person feel seen, heard, and validated on a profound level. This triggers a release of oxytocin in their brain, the neurochemical of bonding and trust. They will begin to feel a sense of comfort and rapport with you, often without consciously knowing why. They will simply leave the conversation with the distinct feeling that they really enjoyed talking to you. What they were actually enjoying was the feeling of being truly listened to. How do you cultivate this state? It begins before you even say a word. It's about setting an intention. Before you walk into a date or a social event, take a moment to tell yourself, my goal tonight is not to impress anyone. My goal is to learn something interesting about one person. This simple intention shifts your entire energetic posture. You move from a state of anxious self-monitoring to one of open, relaxed curiosity. Your body language will naturally follow. Your posture will open up, you'll make better eye contact, and you'll have a more genuine smile because you're not forcing it as part of a performance. You are simply present and engaged with the world around you. This approach completely flips the power dynamic in a subtle and elegant way. When you are in performance mode, you are seeking their approval. You are subtly asking, am I good enough? When you are in a state of curious presence, you are the one gently guiding the interaction. You are not being interviewed. You are the one conducting a very warm and engaging interview. You are not trying to fit into their world. You are inviting them to share theirs with you. This creates an aura of quiet confidence. It signals that you are not there to take something, validation, but to offer something, presence. This is an incredibly high-value position. It communicates that you are secure in yourself and that you have the emotional capacity to hold space for others. It is the single most attractive quality a person can possess, and it has nothing to do with what you say about yourself. Strategic questions. Once you've adopted the mindset of curious presence, you need the right tools to bring it to life. The primary tool is the art of asking strategic questions. This is not about peppering someone with a list of generic interview questions. It's about using questions to peel back the layers of a person and move a conversation from the superficial to the significant. Most conversations get stuck on the surface level, revolving around what I call fact-finding questions. What do you do? Where are you from? Have you seen that new movie? These questions are fine as an entry point, but they rarely create a memorable connection. A high-value woman knows how to transition from facts to feelings and values. This is where the real substance of a person lives. There is a simple framework for this that I call the what, how, and why ladder. What questions are the ground floor? They gather facts. How questions are the next level up. They explore process and story. Why questions are the top floor. They uncover motivation, passion, and values. Let's see it in action. He says, I'm a software engineer. The typical response is another what question, like, what company do you work for? It keeps the conversation on the surface. Instead, you can climb the ladder. You could ask a how question. That's fascinating. How did you first get into coding? This invites a story, a personal narrative. It gives him a chance to talk about his journey, not just his job title. Then, if the conversation flows, you can aim for the top floor with a why question. This requires more rapport, but it's where the magic happens. A why question might sound like, what's the most meaningful project you've ever worked on, and why did it matter to you? Or, what is it about solving those complex problems that you find so satisfying? These questions are powerful because they are not about his resume, they are about his character. They invite him to share what drives him, what he's passionate about, what he values. You are no longer talking about what he does for a living. You are talking about what makes him come alive. This is an incredibly intimate and connecting experience. You are showing him that you are interested in his soul, not just his status. The key to making this feel natural and not like an interrogation is your genuine curiosity and your willingness to share as well. When he answers a why question, you can respond with empathy and a related, concise insight of your own. For example, if he talks about his passion for building things, you could say, I really resonate with that. For me, that feeling of creating something out of nothing is what drives my work in your field. This creates a moment of shared understanding. You are not hijacking the conversation to talk about yourself. You are using your experience to validate his. You are building a bridge between your two inner worlds. This is the art of conversational deepening. It is a skill that demonstrates immense emotional intelligence and makes you utterly captivating. Confident stillness. So much of what we communicate has nothing to do with our words. A high-value woman understands that her nonverbal communication, her body language, her pace of speech, her use of silence, is broadcasting a constant stream of information about her internal state. While someone in performance mode often has anxious, leaky nonverbal cues, fidgeting, talking quickly, nervous laughter, a woman who is grounded in her own value radiates what I call confident stillness. This is a state of physical and energetic calm that signals immense self-possession. It is the nonverbal bedrock upon which all of your verbal strategies are built. Without it, even the best questions will fall flat. Confident. Stillness starts with your posture. It's about taking up your rightful space in the world. When you sit squarely in your chair with your back straight and your shoulders relaxed. Avoid the tendency to shrink, to cross your arms and legs tightly, or to hunch over. These are low-power poses that signal defensiveness and insecurity. An open, expansive posture communicates that you are comfortable in your own skin and relaxed in the situation. It creates an inviting energy that makes others feel more at ease around you. Your gestures should be deliberate and calm. Instead of quick, jerky movements, use slower, more graceful hand gestures that punctuate your points rather than betraying your nerves. Think of it as moving with intention, not with anxiety. One of the most powerful and underutilized tools of nonverbal communication is silence. We are often terrified of pauses in a conversation. We feel an urgent need to fill the void, fearing it will become awkward. But a person who is truly confident is comfortable with silence. They understand that a pause is not a vacuum. It is a space for thought and connection. When you ask a meaningful why question, don't rush to fill the silence if he takes a moment to think. Hold his gaze with a warm, patient expression. This small act communicates incredible confidence. It signals that you are not desperate for an answer and that you respect him enough to give him the space to formulate a thoughtful one. This creates a relaxed, unhurried dynamic that is the hallmark of high-level communication. Your vocal delivery is another key component. People in performance mode tend to speak quickly, as if they're afraid of losing their turn. A confident woman speaks at a more deliberate, measured pace. Her vocal tone is often lower in pitch, resonating from her chest rather than her throat, which is perceived as more authoritative and calming. She also ends her sentences with a downward inflection, making them sound like statements of fact rather than an upward inflection that makes them sound like questions seeking approval. Practice recording yourself speaking. Listen to your pace and your inflection. By consciously slowing down and grounding your voice, you can dramatically increase your perceived confidence and presence. Confident stillness is not about being rigid or cold. It's about eliminating the static of anxiety so your true, warm, and curious self can shine through. Shared reality. This is the final and most advanced stage, the one that truly separates a pleasant conversation from a profound connection. After you have established a foundation of curious presence, used strategic questions to deepen the dialogue, and maintained a state of confident stillness, the ultimate goal is to create a shared reality. This is the moment a conversation shifts from me and you to us. It's the point where you stop being two separate individuals, exchanging information, and start becoming two people co-creating a unique, shared experience. This is the dynamic that makes a man feel not just that he had a great conversation with you, but that he has found a true partner, a genuine teammate. Creating a shared reality is about listening for themes, for recurring values, and for common ground, and then verbalizing it. It's about finding the intersection of your two worlds. As you listen to his stories and his answers to your why questions, you start to notice the underlying principles that drive him. Maybe it's a deep commitment to family, a passion for adventure, or a relentless drive for personal growth. When you recognize a value that you share, you can articulate it. You might say something like, "It sounds like we both really value the freedom to build our own path," or "I love that we share that same sense of curiosity about the world." These "we" statements are incredibly powerful. They stop being about your story or his story and start being about our story. Another way to build this shared reality is to create a shared future, even if it's just a hypothetical or playful one. This is often done through humor and callbacks. If he mentioned a funny story about a disastrous hiking trip earlier, you could later say, "Well, if we ever go hiking, I'm definitely in charge of the map." It's a lighthearted way of saying, "I see a future that includes you." It creates creates a sense of an ongoing narrative between the two of you. It's about building your own private world, complete with inside jokes and shared references. This is the very fabric of intimacy. It's what makes someone feel like they have a special and unique connection with you that they don't have with anyone else. This final layer is what makes you unforgettable. A man can be impressed by a woman's beauty, her career, or her wit, but he will be captivated by a woman who makes him feel like he has found a partner for his soul. This is not a technique you can fake. It requires you to genuinely listen and to be vulnerable enough to share your own values and perspective. It is the culmination of all the previous steps. It's the ultimate expression of a high-value woman, one who is so secure in her own reality that she has the ability and the generosity to build a new, shared one with someone else. She talks to men not as an opponent to be conquered or a judge to be impressed, but as a potential co-author for a story that is waiting to be written.